This country wanted a 69-hour work week. Millennials and Generation Z had other ideas. So South Korea CNN. Shorter work weeks to boost employee mental health and productivity may be catching on in some places around the world, but at least one country appeals to have missed the memo. The South Korean government was this week forced to rethink a plan that would have raised its cap on working hours to 69 per week, up from the current limit of 52, after sparking a backlash among the millennials and Generation Z workers. Workers in the East Asian powerhouse economy already face some of the longest hours in the world, ranking fourth behind only Mexico, Costa Rica, and Chile in 2021, according to the OECD, and the death by overwork. Guarosa is thought to kill scores of people every year. Yet, the government had backed the plan to increase the cap following pressure from business groups seeking a boost in productivity until that is ran into vociferous opposition from the younger generation and the labor unions. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol's senior secretary said Wednesday the government would take a new direction after listening to public opinion and said it was committed to protecting the rights and the interests of millennial Generation Z and non-union workers. Raising the cap had been seen as a way of addressing the looming labor shortages the country faces due to its dwindling fertility rate, which is the world's lowest, and its aging population. But the move was widely panned by critics who argued that tightening the screw on the workers would only make the matters worse. Experts frequently cite the country's demanding working culture and rising disillusionment among younger generations as driving factors in its demographic problems. It was only as recently as 2018 that, due to popular demand, the country had lowered the limit from 68 hours a week to the current 52, a move that at the time received overwhelming support in the National Assembly. The current law limits the work week to 40 hours plus up to 12 hours of compensated overtime, though in reality, critics say many workers find themselves under pressure to work longer. The proposal does not make any sense and is so far from what workers actually want, said Chung Jun-sik, 25, a university student from the capital Seoul, who added that even with the government U-turn, many workers would still be pressured to work beyond the legal maximum. My own father works excessively every week, and there is no boundary between work and life, he said. Unfortunately, that is quite common in the workforce. Labor inspectors can now watch every workplace 24/7. South Korean people will remain vulnerable to deadly overtime work. Pedestrians in downtown Seoul. According to us OECD, South Koreans worked on average 1,915 hours in 2021, far above the OECD average of 1,716 and the American average of 1,767. Long hours alongside the high levels of education and an increase in, in women entering the workforce are once widely credited as fueling the country's remarkable economic growth following the Korean War in 1950, when it went from being a poor economy to one of the world's richest. However, critics say the flip side to those long hours can be seen clearly in the scores of Guarosa cases. death by overwork, in which exhausted people pay with their lives through heart attacks, industrial accident, or sleep deprived driving. He In-shim, a spokeswoman for the Seoul-based feminist group He-il, said the country's rapid growth and economic success had come at a cost, and the proposal to extend the work hours reflected the government's reluctance to acknowledge the realities of South Korean society. She said the isolation and the lack of economy stemming from long work hours and intense work days was already taking its toll on many workers, and the insane work hours will further exacerbate challenges faced by Korean women. In addition to Guarosa cases, the country also has the highest suicide rate among developed nations according to data from the National Statistical Office. She pointed out it is crucial for the government and the companies to address the pressing issues that are already affecting lives, the Shim said. The need for support and a healthy work-life balance cannot be overlooked if we are to ensure the well-being of individuals with the reality of highest suicide rate in the OECD. In 2017, the year before the government reduced the cap on working hours, hundreds of people died due to overwork, according to government data. Even when the limit was cut to 52 hours, cases of Guarosa continued to make the headlines. In 2020, labor unions said 14 delivery workers had died due to overwork, having sacrificed their mental health and well-being to keep the country going during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. With the previous reporting from CNN's Jake Kwon and Alexandra Field.